Seasons of her. Growth talk, real talk, faith in every word.
Hey sis, welcome to Seasons of Her podcast. I am Taneshia Simmons, the host, and today we have Bernadette here. She is going to be sharing her story and her testimony. She is somebody that never gave up. When she was at her lowest, she stood back up. So that is our topic for today, is she stood back up. So whoever is listening, take a deep breath, open your hearts, and get ready, because this episode is proof that no matter how hard you fall, you can always stand back up. So for those who meeting you for the first time, who is Bernadette today?
I would say for Bernadette, I'm the same as everyone else. Only difference is I just choose not to live in the shame for anything that I went through in my past. So I choose to walk in my strength, walk in my power. Whatever was stripped from me before, I gained it all back and some.
So what season of life would you say you are currently in, and why?
The season that I'm currently in now, I choose to continue to rise up in resilience, and just knowing in my mind that no matter if I try something, if it doesn't work out, that's okay. I'm just going to keep on going, because I'm not a quitter. I'm going to forever be a fighter. So that's the season I'm in, and I choose to live for what I stand for.
I think sometimes we have to get in that season, definitely when we were at our lowest, or when we realize our worth. Right. We kind of stand for something. So yeah, that's a great season. What does that mean to you personally?
It means everything to me, because at one point in my life, I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I tell my kids that the sky is the limit, it is the limit, mm-hmm. even for me and some. Yeah. So I don't let nothing get in my way anymore.
Yeah, that's good. So there was a time in your life when everything seemed to be falling apart. What was the hardest part of that season for you emotionally?
The hardest part of that season, I would say, not so much for myself per se, pertaining to just me, but mm-hmm. I would say the darkest time would be when I had to fight for my life, not just for my life, but for my kids' life. I was all over the place. I was broken. I felt lost. I felt worthless, angry, confused.
Yeah. So what lies did you start to believe about yourself during that time?
The lies that I believed, I was one that never thought that I could be brainwashed, mm-hmm. until it actually happened. So it got to a point to where I started feeling like the way that I speak was questioned, the way I presented myself was questioned, and I started feeling like I had to live up to everybody else's standards. So I started reading more books, trying to enhance my vocabulary. I started questioning myself to the point to where I started living in a shell. So it affected me in a big way, but it seemed like it was forever. But looking back at it, it wasn't long that I stayed in that mindset.
Mm-hmm. So what isolated you from your family, your support, and for yourself, and how did it affect your healing?
I would say what isolated me from my family and my support, first and foremost, it was shame. Mm-hmm. Because my family knew me.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was still the Bernadette that my family knew. Mm-hmm. I didn't want them questioning it, because I didn't want to face it.
Yeah.
Answering hard questions to my truth. I didn't want to bring my family into that. Yeah. It was certain people that I did trust that I could talk to about it when I was going through it. And there was others, because at that time, I cared about how I looked in everybody's eyes.
And you have to get to that point. I remember going from knowing you to not knowing you.
Yeah.
I remember dang, this is Bernadette. This is the person. So I went from growing up with her and everything like that, knowing that's my auntie, knowing all that, to being like, is this her?
You seen it in my face. I lost weight. When I was young, I was always a skinny little somebody anyway. But when I gained some weight, I started losing weight when I started, because I was stressed. Yeah. Cried on a daily. Dark rings around my eyes. Mm-hmm. like my appearance just wasn't the same. Like the only thing that really looked big on me that looked like I was still here was my head. But yeah, my appearance changed and the way I would interact would change because I was shut off.
What did that journey teach you about continue to keep going?
It taught me, well, one, when I moved away, I moved to get away from everybody I knew to get to know who I was as a person. And to know that I can stand alone no matter what it is that I would face, that I could get through it. And going through those things, even though there was times I wanted to give up, I knew that I couldn't because it wasn't just about me anymore. It's about me and my 4 kids. Yeah. So I pressed through it. It was hard. Like I said, I wanted to give up. There was times when I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, but I still, just because of my desire to get through what I've been through and to tell myself, you're not a product of your situation. Push through it.
Yeah. How did faith show up? When you were going through all those situations and you were down and out, how did faith show up in that?
To be honest with you, it started off when I was gifted a book about my brother that I was upset with for years. But I never opened the book. And when I started reading the book, I couldn't put it down. At this time, I was in transition of reality of where I was in my marriage. Because I was there physically, but I wasn't there mentally or emotionally. Yeah. It started opening up doors and, peeling off layers that I had to deal with. I realized that I was at my lowest point, like at a point to where if I don't do something about my situation, I'm going to lose it and I'm not going to be any good to my kids. Yeah. So I had to, like I said, I started reading that book. I started finding myself with that. I feel like at that time, I've always been a faith-based girl, but at that time, God started dealing with me.
Yeah. So I think when we are in a situation and we get out of the situation, one of the questions is, what made you stay?
In the beginning, what made me stay, I felt like, I started listening to the voices, not actual voices, but, the thoughts in my head. I'm too deep in it. I mean, to the point to where I felt like I didn't know how to get out. And part of getting out, I had some family members like, why don't you just come back home? I'm like, man, if I come back home, it's going to be like, the whole purpose of me moving here is going to be non and void. Right. So I was like, I can't just go. I'm going to have to just fight through the best way that I can. So that's one of the reasons why I stayed, on top of the fact that I was told that I wasn't making enough to where I could really take care of my kids. And I believe that. So I stayed in a situation that I knew that wasn't good for me. So.
And we go through that. We always find reasons and we stay longer. And the longer we stay, God's going to put something out there until it's time for you to move. Like God said, if you don't move when I make you move, I'm going to make you move.
It was uncomfortable. Yeah. Then I lived in an uncomfortable life. I lived an uncomfortable lifestyle for years. The reason why I say I did it in silence is because I didn't come out and tell everybody. And I definitely didn't want to say nothing to my brothers, because you know how our brothers are coming for us when they hear your sister is dealing with some abuse, or, whatever the case may be. I didn't, I think a lot about my brother, and I didn't want them to be put in a situation to where they wouldn't be out with their kids. I didn't say anything to my brothers. I just fought through it the best way that I knew how.
Although I didn't deal with physical abuse, I feel like I put myself to deal with mentally and emotional abuse. Yeah. And with that, abuse, I feel like it comes from what we've seen or what we lacked growing up. Because I've seen abuse on every end. I've seen when either, my uncle and them getting into it with their girlfriends and they fighting, or my mama getting beat up, or my auntie and them. Like, so I went through a snippet of just like some form of abuse because I wanted to stay. I wanted to have that love or have that person. And regardless if it's 2 months, 6 months, a year, you're always saying, I put so much time and effort into something and I don't want it to go away. So you deal with pain just to have somebody you can call your own.
I used to be a people pleaser, and to the point to where I did anything just to avoid arguments because I never dealt with conflict well. Yeah. That explains a lot of the things that I did go through. Mm-hmm. And it did come from past trauma. Yeah. I always knew that whenever I made up my mind to just get up and fight, I was going to fight. Yeah. I was going to fight until I couldn't feel my arms anymore. Yeah. Yeah, going through that, not thinking, because I always told myself, I'm never going to go through that because I did see my sisters go through situations like that. I did see the same things that you've seen. Mm-hmm. But, you never know. And, until you get into a situation. It's
like, nobody ain't going to slap me down until you get in that situation. So, now, what are some of your biggest accomplishments? So, you left that situation, you left that relationship, you regained your kids. Now, it's like, I'm this woman.
That was, besides, cultivating my relationship with God, mm-hmm. me getting my babies back was my biggest accomplishment. Mm-hmm. Because they went through something that they should not have had to go through. But, it built character, not just for mm-hmm. me, but for my kids. I learned that everything that we've been through was necessary. Now, I can tell my truth to help mm-hmm. other women that's living in their shame and feel like they can't get out. There's no way to get out. They can. Mm-hmm. That is so true when you hear people say never. Yeah. And it's not about what you go through, it's how you get through it. Mm-hmm. And I only got through it with God and standing in my truth. Mm-hmm. Because the more I lied to myself, the longer I was in it. When I had to face the ugly truth, that's when I started seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Mm-hmm. Now I'm here.
I'm proud of you. I know I told you that a million times of how proud I am of you. Knowing that I knew you all the way up until a short period of time, and then you coming back and you just getting it. Like for me, what I see is a resilient woman, a person that set their mind and they're going to do it. So for you to be like, well, I'm going to sacrifice. When you moved back home and you had to move out your place, not for no bad reason, y'all, but right. Moved out your place and then you lived with siblings for a short period of time and you were like, I'm not about to go get another house, or I'm going to sacrifice this short period of time so I can now have a home for myself.
And that was a sacrifice.
Yeah, but you worked and you saved and you got to where you need to be so you and your kids can have a forever home. And people go through situations and people don't know how to get out of it. So for you to go through that with your husband, ex-husband now, lose your kids, get them back, come back to your hometown to where now eyes all on you. You can be like, how did that feel? Actually, how did that feel coming back to your hometown, knowing that you went away and you went through hell?
To be honest with you, it was refreshing because I came back a stronger mm-hmm. person than what I was. I came back with more clarity in who I was and my purpose. So, and like me raising kids in the city, it's not in void because things start going crazy mm-hmm. and where I was from, where I was living at the time. So I knew coming back home to what I knew mm-hmm. Better to raise kids, to raise them here. Yeah. I knew that the opportunity of having more, I know I probably could have had my own home there in St. Again, I feel like it just made sense to be back at home and have everything here to bring better structure for my kids here. So that's why I came back. I love a challenge because my ex-husband told me that you're never going to be able to afford a home. You're always going to live in an apartment. No man's going to want you with 4 kids. Not only do I own my own home, but I lived in a home
prior to that.
2 homes prior to that.
Yeah.
After my apartment, when fighting to get my babies back, but now I own my home. Yeah. So I like to make people eat their words. You can say what you want to say about me, but I'm going to make you eat those words later. But not only to prove them wrong, but myself as well, because I did have some self-doubt, but all the stuff that I was going through, and all the stuff that I did go through, but I rose above and I feel good about it. And it's not to rub anything in anybody's face. It's just to say, if I can do it coming from where I came from, I know you can do it.
Not, and you probably weren't thinking this, but now it gives me a different perspective of saying, like, you wanted your house the way you wanted your house because for so long you wasn't in the home.
Exactly.
Like, you wanted, when people come in your house, this is your sanctuary. You wanted it to be how you wanted it because you wanted that home feeling. This is my house for me and my kid. Looking at you, I'm like, all this time she's been saying, like, nobody, no events over here until my home is a home.
Yeah,
I want it. So
presentation is everything.
Yeah.
So, and yes, I make sure that my house is nice and tidy, but there's a certain look that I want for me. So that, and it's not so much of just getting accreditation from anybody, because I used to look for that. I used to look for validation from people.
Yeah, just do it.
I don't need the validation. I do it for me, because if I'm like, if I accomplish that, I feel good about that, but I also want people to come in to where it feels warm and welcoming, so, because people talk. And if you're going to talk, you're going to have something good to talk about. So, but.
What would you tell your daughters, your kids? Like, what is one advice that's at the top of your list that you want your kids to know about what they went through and how they, because you said it was necessary. So what is one thing you want them to live by and want them to know?
Some things that happen in your life is not your fault, but understand that it's necessary that you go through it. Because again, it builds character. So I tell them all the time, it's not what you go through or what you're dealing with, it's how you go through it and how you deal with the situation. I'd say that along the lines of saying it's not, because, they care a lot about what people think about them and what they say about them. Even what they say about me, I'm like, it's their opinions. It's not factual. So it's not what people say about you or how they feel about you or what they think about you. It's what you answer to.
Yeah.
That's what I would tell my kids. Rise above it. Yes, we've been through this, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Now you have something to tell kids that may be going through similar situations. So everything that may start off bad, it don't always end out bad. So again, it's all about how you get through it.
Yeah, that is an important part. Because I don't think, and everybody's story is different, so you go through different things, but you'll still have those same feelings and emotions of, what is somebody gonna say about me? And that's what give you fear and doubt. That's when that come in. That's when the enemy really comes in, when you are headstrong and worrying about what the next person is going to think about you, and how you do it. So you building that character, although the situation was bad. Most people don't get their kids back. Most people don't get that second chance.
Because when you think about it, it's a lot of, I was nowhere near close to fitting the characters of most moms there that lost their kids. Most of those mothers didn't do anything to get their kids back. They wasn't trying, but they got their kids back. But here I am, one mother, I'm getting my life together, got it together, and I'm taking the necessary steps to make sure that I'm well put mentally and emotionally to where I can be stable when I receive my kids back. And they tried everything they could to keep me from getting them. But you have some mothers, some of the kids go back home to their mothers and the babies wind up dead within a week. Yeah. So
I see it all the time in my profession.
It was the scenario of the situation, the extent of the situation that I went through was understandable, because it wasn't the first time, it was twice. The difference about that second time is when I did all the work to get them back myself, I didn't have my ex-husband there doing it.
Yeah.
And also another thing that that drove that hunger and that drive to fight to get my babies back, not only because I know they needed me and I needed my kids, but to let them know that you got a parent that do love you. Yes, there were the same, having kids with someone, to hear them say, if they don't give them back, we can always make more, was very distasteful. And I know someday the kids are going to have to hear that, because they're going to ask more questions eventually, but I try not to say too much about the experiences, because I don't want them to look at their dad in a negative way. Yeah. I want them to learn their dad on their own. So, because I don't want them to envy me in the meantime. But it was, looking back at all the things, the loopholes that they kept sending me through. Like I get all excited about to get my kids back. You want to throw another curveball, and you send all these other babies back to the parents that didn't want them in from the get go, and they wind up dead. You know, it's like the system is supposed to be designed to help, but it's really tearing down families, and it's like there's no care in that.
Yeah.
Like thinking about the things that my kids experienced when they went through foster care. And then when I get them back, I have to help not just help them turn away certain behaviors that they end up gaining when they had it, but I also have to be a counselor. I have to be mom. I have to be dad. I have to be a teacher, you know, so it was a struggle. You know, my oldest son, every time his dad's name was mentioned, he used the bathroom on himself. Because they had a fear that he would appear again. You know, so just going through something like that, it constantly teaches me, even when I think about it. I may not say anything to the kids, but then when the kids talk about it, hear them talk about it in the house, I get to hear how they feel about what they went through. And when they ask questions, sometimes I don't have an answer. Yeah. You know, but I could tell them I don't have an answer right now, but I can help you get through that situation. Yeah. You know, so it has its pluses and minuses, but the best part about it is that I have them. Yeah. And they're better off. And I would love to have a 2-parent household, but by the grace of God, they're doing better. So, yeah, but like I said, I will continue to tell my kids to rise above. Don't ever let your situation make you. Yeah. You learn from that situation. Yeah.
And then you understand that they have trauma and questions that you can't answer. Yeah. I just remember being a kid, and it wasn't to the extent, but I didn't understand certain things. And I used to be asking my mom, how did that happen? She used to say, well, just do better than me. I'm like, but I need the answer, or you need to teach me how to be better than you, because right now I don't know how. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it wasn't until I got older and people would be saying something. They wasn't the worst of the worst, but they still had their flaws, and people were like, how did y'all get through it? God. Yeah. Saved my parents, and I was able to have conversations, because as an adult, I was able to have a conversation with my dad or with my mom or whatever, and they was able to then give an answer because God saved them. You know what I mean? So, being able just to tell them, like, I don't have the answer, but I can help you get through it. That's saying that I'm healing with you. Right. And we're going through that together. So that's a good job as a parent. What they say? So what boundaries did you have to create to protect the woman that you are becoming?
Say what I mean and mean what I say.
Stand up.
One thing I have learned is that just because, like, at that time I wasn't really fully ready to date. But I knew for a fact I wasn't ready to get married again, because I knew I needed to get through and get over what I experienced, because I know I wasn't any good for anybody else. So when I was asked, are you ready for a relationship? I was like, heck no. Like, and I was asked why. My response is, I have to get over everything I've been through with my ex-husband, because I won't be any good to you. Like, you would have to go through these things with me, because I wouldn't know how to treat you, because I'm hurting you. Hurt people hurt other people. So I couldn't find it in myself to do that. You know, so you know, when you think back in high school, we'd get in a relationship and you don't even heal from that situation. You go get into another one. It's just trauma, rebuilding new trauma with someone else. So that's the truth. That's the truth about going through. Never bring your baggage into a new relationship, because you will relive those things. And from experience, I did relive some of those things that I experienced. But yeah,
I don't think you would be all the way healed. You can go.
Yeah, I don't think I would be all the way healed, but that's a desire of mine. So when I say that this is something I'm not going to deal with, and I'm not going to tolerate, I don't deal with it, I don't tolerate. And I learned that by watching men and hearing men talk about what they're going to accept and what they're not going to accept. And I could respect that about a man, because if they tell a woman this is not what I'm going to tolerate, and this is not what I'm going to deal with. And if you want to test those waters and do those things, they will leave you hanging dry because they told you.
Yeah.
That's a boundary. So that helped me. Like, okay, so I could do that, you know. But a lot of us women, we're so emotional. We want to be loved by someone. I had to go back to what I learned whenever I was fighting to get my kids back, how to love myself. And loving myself, I had to say, okay, well, this is the boundary I'm going to set and I'm going to stick to it. I don't tolerate disrespect from anyone, and I don't expect for anyone to accept disrespect from me.
Yeah. So on here, Charmaine said, we only accept what we allow. That is 100% true. Yeah. And the pastor was like, you are the first, how you treat yourself is how other people is going to treat you. So you are the first person to treat yourself well, because people are going to start treating you the way you treat yourself. And how I walk in, how I'm speaking, how I look, how I carry myself is how people are going to respond to me. If I'm walking in, like, you know what I mean? People are going to respond to me in their way.
Right.
And then it's like, that's how you carrying yourself. That's how you love yourself. I was wanting to create this. I started my organization, Youth Empowerment 573. And I wanted to help youth, which I knew, but I was like, how can I start an organization to help people when I don't respect myself?
That's a good one.
Yeah, I was like, you don't respect yourself. And my friend was like, why would you say that? I said, if I respect myself, why am I in this type of relationship? Why am I in this type of friendship? I don't respect myself. I'm allowing to be called whatever. I'm over here allowing to be the other girl, or, you know, I am allowing certain behaviors. I'm allowing to be, you know, the late night call, but I want to go help other people.
I don't take anything from our mom. I love her. Everything that she instilled in us, I live that to the fullest. But she could not teach me how to love myself because mom didn't love herself. And when you learn, and that came from her past trauma. Like I said, now that I know, it doesn't matter how old you are. When you learn how to love yourself, it's never too late to know how to, to learn to love yourself. And when you do it, stand on it. As you say, stand on business, right? Because when you love yourself, you're not going to tolerate any of the things that you have tolerated in the past. That's exactly what I'm doing now, and I could teach it to my kids now, and I tell them all the time, you have to love yourself. Yeah. And you'll know when you love yourself, because you're not going to tolerate any and everything from anybody. It start with your family members. It start with so-called friends or so-called boyfriends or girlfriends, so on and so forth. Everybody. You're going to stand, you're going to demand your respect, and you don't have to be obnoxious with it to demand it. You can't. It's the way you present yourself. Yeah. Presentation is everything. I think I said that before. You do not have to be nasty to have a boundary. Yes. Like, you can have a boundary without being nasty. But I think when I started my boundaries, I'm like, cut everybody off. And I probably was a little nasty because I'm like, I just have to do that for myself, and I don't care who feels any type of way. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like I was a yes person. And now, since being married, my priorities are different, but it had helped me in that way. Right. Now I'm going home. My motto is, if it ain't get done today, it's gonna be on my desk tomorrow. So it's like that. It's like the boundary of like, if it ain't happening, it ain't gonna happen, and I'm gonna continue to live my life and put myself first in that situation. So for the people that's on TikTok right now, like, how do you guys deal with boundaries, or how are you setting up your boundaries? And if it's difficult, why is it hard for you to set up a boundary? Okay, so you go to church. And you're in church and you talk about prayer. How has church, prayer, and the community played a role in your healing? It started off with me gaining trust, because I'm not one to trust easily. Yeah, I'm antisocial. The church I go to, it's like they're in your face, and they're let you know that you're loved and you're accepted, and they appreciate you. So that's what helped me let down some of those walls. And the prayer, I could open up and let them know if I need prayer. Because I used to be like, I'm not getting up there for prayer. Or I'm not going to call you and tell you, hey, I need you to pray for me, because I'm very private and I'm very selective on who I share my business with. So, like I said, it's all about trust. And they have gained my trust. And I'm still learning to trust them more. Like I said, some experiences you see things wavering and shifting, and it kind of like made me question a lot of things when it came down to faith. But at this church home, I have everything that I need, to be honest with you. At first I didn't, I was uncomfortable. And I started off going, I was going every Sunday faithfully, but it was something happening to me that was foreign and I didn't understand it. So I was like, I don't think I want to keep going there. So, you know, I made up every excuse not to go, but I sent my kids every Sunday because I know like getting that word is important. And, you know, but it made me open up more.
Yeah, but I do know if I need somebody to pray for, I know I can pick up that phone. If I need somebody to stand in prayer for me, because I'm not, you know, it's going to happen. So how has your past shaped the way you love, you parent, and the way you show up today?
That's a good question. Learn from your mistakes. And it's okay to not know something, you know, because like I told my oldest daughter, I grew up with you. She taught me a lot about myself. My kids taught me a lot about myself. So just being a parent, I let my kids know, even if I'm wrong about something, I would tell my kids that I apologize and what I'm apologizing for. So this parenting thing, as we all know, doesn't come with a manual. I just learn as I go. Yeah. You know, but I'm also learning from my past mistakes. Yeah. For being so passive. And now I'm more intentional, and I'm very careful with a lot of things now because, like, baby, the way we grew up, you know, I took some things that was instilled in me, and I cut away the things that I didn't particularly really agree with. So, you know, that's what molded me to be the type of parent that I am now with my kids. Yeah. It has its pluses and minuses, you know, but kids try you. But I think that the way that I'm parenting them now, as opposed to how we were parented back when we were kids, so far, I would like to say I pat myself on the back. I'm doing a good job. And they receive a lot of things a lot better because at first I started with the old ways that I was brought up and they weren't receiving it well. But now that the things that I've learned, while they're away from me and since they've been back home, things the way that I parent, they receive it a lot better. Yeah. So the dynamics of my household is a lot smoother. So it's just personalities are different. You gotta know how to parent. And so I'm learning even more how to parent each child because the personalities are different.
So what would you say to a woman that is struggling, that feels stuck, ashamed, and afraid to start over?
You can do it. Pick up that shovel. Fill that hole back up that you dug. It's okay to start over. I know that it's scary, but all you have is yourself, guiding yourself at this point. So to rely on, and if the situation that you're in isn't working for you, but everything you have tried, it's okay to try something different. Yeah. I did it. Sometimes you have to look up certain things that you may hear some women with their testimonies that may help encourage you to move forward. Like I said, it's okay. Don't live in your shame. We all go through it. The only difference is you chose not to live in your shame. You chose to stand in your truth no matter what it looked like. Yeah. Tell your truth. Tell your story because you can help somebody else that may be going through the similar situation, but they're afraid to speak out. Whatever steps that you took or that you choose to take, just trust the process. That's what I would tell you. Yeah.
So if you were sitting across from your younger self, what would you tell her? Actually, there's a mirror. So actually look in the mirror. And before we get to her saying that, there is I don't know, I need to look up if it's a study, but there is something that you can do. Everyone that's watching or that's going to watch later, there's literally something you look at yourself in the mirror and be honest. Tell yourself all the things that you need to say and be honest. Because one of the hardest things in life is to look yourself in the mirror, look at the ugly truth, the good truth, whatever truth. So if you're in this healing process, pause, stop, look at yourself in the mirror and be completely honest of what you see and who you are. And what you see, make sure you can say, like, this is what I see physically, like in the outside, but the inside of you. I want you to look really deep in the mirror and be honest with yourself. And don't just look at the bad, but look at the person that you're fighting to be, and that you're meant to be. So we're going to let her look in the mirror, and she's going to tell her younger self, like, what would she tell her younger self? The way her eyes is going. So I've done this exercise a lot of times with different women, and don't drift away. You legit need to look yourself in the mirror and be head on. Are you looking in the mirror?
Okay, so you're going to go through things in life that you may not understand, and they're going to be scary for you. But, you know, I would just tell you to trust the process. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to feel like you lost. It's okay to ask questions. And it's okay to trust people. I would say just pray and ask God to give you a spirit of discernment in order for it to help you maneuver through life, so that things wouldn't be as hard when you grow up. Love yourself.
And you're doing that. Now you are doing that. What scripture, affirmation, or truth carries you through your darkest seasons?
Oh, that's a one of my favorite is you are fearfully and wonderfully made, meaning that God didn't make any mistakes when he made you. And that's what I tell myself. Mm-hmm. Anytime if I have any self-doubts, especially like it regarding any goals that I may have planned to do, some of that self-doubt will come up. But, you know, I would just tell myself, or if I feel like I'm not enough, or you know, I may ask myself, why are you going through certain things? I remember that everything that I go through is necessary. So
it is
that's what I have to continue to tell myself that, because, again, it builds character.
So what does worthy, whole, and enough mean to you?
Everything. I am worthy to be loved. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I may not be quite whole yet because I'm still healing. And I'm growing, but it means everything because I have the power to change the things that I face, anything I'm dealing with. And I am more than enough. God says you're fearfully and wonderfully made. Anybody that have that self-doubt or question your worth, or question if you are enough, you are enough and you are worthy. You deserve everything that God promised to you.
So what season are you currently walking into next? The season are you walking into next? Because right now you're standing on business.
Yeah, right now I'm standing on business. I'm just existing. And whatever goals that I have set that I plan to do this year, I don't like to plan it because things don't never always turn out the way I want it to, but just stand on top of things that I have set before me. Yeah. So, and again, operating in trust and faith and just practicing what I preach. That's the season that I'm in.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us. And thank you, everybody that joined live on TikTok. This, again, will be on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, Seasons of Her. And the title of this is She Stood Back Up. So if anybody is facing a situation that's dealing with domestic violence, abuse, mental health issues, just know that you guys can stand up, back up, and you will stand back up. That what you're going through is not your end of your book. You have other chapters to write, and you wouldn't be on this earth if God didn't have a purpose for you. So continue to keep fighting, continue to keep believing in yourself, and never give up. Always go through it and stay with it.
Washed up, healed up, leveled up. This is Seasons of Her. Let's talk, sis.